Hi, I'm Darla Harms, and I'm a leadership consultant here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I came to Patty a few years ago because we were having some issues with our kids in school. Our youngest especially had been diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD, and our oldest son was struggling with paying attention in school. When I first contacted Patty, my boys were struggling, to say the least. Caleb, even through the first grade, would have a lot of anxiety, not sleep well at night. He would lay his head on his desk just to get through the day. His writing was not good, and he still struggled with reading quite a bit. Joshua really struggled with paying attention in class and also being able to articulate his thoughts. Josh is a deep thinker, but yet couldn't seem to pull the information forward and communicate with us. So after our first initial time with Patty, after 10 sessions, I immediately noticed a change in our youngest son, who went to sleep almost immediately at night, had less anxiety. We took him off his ADHD medicine, and both of my kids, their writing, I saw significant improvements. It's like they'd been to a tutor for a couple of years, that it had only taken 1 month with Brainwave. Caleb used to write down the side of his papers, and he no longer did that, and he no longer flipped letters around and numbers around. After the second session with Brainwave, our oldest son, I began to see that he was able to communicate more clearly. He is a deep thinker and would often be really quiet, but all of a sudden he was able to draw forth information and communicate in a way that he'd never been able to do before, and even told me one day that he wanted to be an attorney because now he liked to argue. And I think Brainwave just enabled him to think more clearly about his future, empowered him to speak his mind, and that has been really refreshing. Our youngest son has had 3 intensives with Brainwave, and Caleb is a different kid. Everybody in our family sees it. He is much more relaxed, much calmer, much more able to get through the day without any kind of arguments. He's still a very active boy, but it's manageable. The other day, I do homeschooling with my children, and the other day we had math, and he just sat at the table saying, "I can do it, I can do it, I can do it." He had the best attitude. And 3 years ago, 2 years ago, that never would have happened. We would have had crying and anxiety and fits, and it would have been torture for us to get through even one day. Patty and Brainwave Optimization and Keith have changed my kids' lives. I get emotional about it because, I'm into leadership development and empowering people. And there's a point where I can't do that it has to come from inside. And that's what Patty and Keith do. They fix the brain. They help optimize the brain so it can function at its absolute best. And when you are functioning at your best, the greatest organ in your body is refreshed and working properly, great things happen, and that's what I've seen in our lives.